Welcome back to Roadmap, Auto Trader UK's products and tech podcast. Oh, today I've got some guests, I'll tell you now. But it's going to be a bit different today because we're going to be critiquing a film, a short film. We're going to be picking over the 2023 Auto Trader product update, catchily named Simple is Complex. And for those who have not seen it, you can find it at autotrader.co.uk/2023. And to talk through the video and the key points it's raised, I've got three corking guests on the couch that have had a hand in it, but in various and very different ways. First up, I've got Benjamin Benny Boy McCarthy, as he's affectionately known, Little Benj, who's one of our engineering directors. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Pete.
I've got Tracy Smudger Smith.
Here we go.
She's not called Smudger because she rubs out drawings, but she is a portfolio design lead. Hey, Tracy.
Yeah. Yo.
And then Thomas, I'm going to give you your full title. So Thomas Holmes, star of the show, who's one of our senior product leads.
Hello.
Hello. So, Simple is Complex. I loved it. So, to be honest, I liked the film. I thought it was super interesting, and obviously I don't have a huge attention span, so the fact it was quite small and short was good. But I'm going on a serious note. The whole simple is complex, simple is curious, simple distills complex creativity and technology into real world useful products. I couldn't remember that, so I had to write that one down. But what I'm going to ask you all is simple, making complex things simple in your daily roles. Like, from your different perspectives, like, what does that actually mean? Now, I'm going to start with Tracy on that one. So, making the complex simple. How do you do it?
I think for me, it's having that wider view. I think everything's really complex, and then I very much focus on what users are going to be doing. So I think particularly in digital retailing, I very much focus on the retailer side. So we talk about this, omni-channel journey and looking at that wider view, but then just thinking about taking everything into account, but then trying to understand what that user has to do to kind of support that consumer through that journey as well. And when I talk about that user, I mean the retailer. So it's thinking about that retailer side, and yeah, it's really complicated. We have lots of different retailers, they use systems in different ways. But yeah, it's just being able to kind of zoom out and then zoom back into the detail as well is key to kind of simplifying things. So is it for you, is it that whole zoom out is the key? I think so, yeah. Yeah, because when we zoom out, I'm looking at the consumer as well, and potentially from an API point of view and all those different things that can tie into that, and having to align that is really complex. But yeah, having that zoom out view really does help. Cool. And Tom, obviously you're in the video, so I'm hoping you've got like a massive answer for us here. But like Tracy, from a design perspective, you're a product lead. Mm-hmm. So again, like, what does like making the complex simple mean to you? And again, how as your role as a product lead, how do you go about that? Like, you know what I mean, on a day-to-day basis?
I think there's a few variants for me with it. I think there's probably building similar to what Tracy said from the consumer angle in terms of the products you're designing. Clearly, the simpler you can make the product for a consumer to understand, the better and the more effective that product will be. So I think that's a really important part of my role, and it's quite a challenging thing too. Like, where it's complex is that consumers define how they want to use your products, not us defining how they get to use it. So I think really trying to figure that out is a real challenge. But then I actually think day to day in being effective in my role, this simplicity also then comes from, I suppose, how I break it down and get that kind of product to market, and how I make that a really simple process. As you all know, I'm super commercial and I like to make money. I don't like not making money. Super commercial. I love it. So, Tom, describe your role in 2 or 3 words. Super commercial. Super commercial. No. So I like to make money. Obviously, products are important, but yeah, I like them to generate money. But the longer they're not delivered, the longer you're putting off getting any value. Yeah. So I think the simpler you can break something down, and the quicker you can then get that product to market and shipped. I mean, if it's just a consumer-facing product without any commercial value, you'll still learn loads, but you can also hopefully realise commercials from it as well if you get it out there. Cool.
different but the same. What about yourself, Benji?
So it's probably two different aspects to my role. So one of it is definitely on the engineering side. We have to take super complex problems and make them as simple as possible to implement. So it's like, how do we work with like the product people, the design, to try and drive simplicity forward?
Yeah.
Because that lets us deliver faster. Then on the other side, it's taking what appears to be a simple thing to the rest of the business, or to the commercial side, the sales side, and trying to explain actually the engineering is complex.
Yeah.
So it's like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. No, I was thinking, like, again, similar but different. That whole, and again, probably this is more in my role, is how do you then, because we've all got different skill sets, and how do you come up with that distilling it to a level where everybody can understand it, so that we're not bamboozling different colleagues with terminology, and how can we take sometimes, because we have got like a wide sort of auto trader vocabulary, but how do you then distill it right down so actually everybody comes out with the same understanding? So whether that be explaining a complex solution just with a picture or drawing it on the wall, so you can go, actually forget the words, this is what we actually mean, and that being fundamental in the collaborative space is how do we, like you said, Ben, it might look simple on the top, but actually when you get in there with APIs and all the different elements of technology, it is complicated.
It's basically, you end up with 3 boxes on a wall. These are the 3 component parts, but underneath there's a ton of complexity.
Yeah. So the video itself, so again, I'm going to use the video as the prompt for all questions today. So hopefully you have watched it, and if you haven't, this is going to be a really hard half an hour. Now, Tom, I know you starred in it, so that's different. That's different.
I've watched Catherine and I've watched Anaya, and I fast forwarded me.
Yeah, so it's a hard one, isn't it? It's like, you just close your eyes, put your fingers in your ears. I'm back. So the 3 key areas we focused on this year round. So we did a product update last year, was data, digital retailing, and electric. So 3 big core topics. And I think on the landing page, which has been developed, when we talk about data, it's like making data work hard so nobody else needs to. But again, I know we got 4 in a way, because my role is different than all your 3 roles on the couch. But how does the data side of Auto Trader play into your daily work lives? And also, what things have you influenced or worked on or been part of a wider team on? So I'm going to start with yourself, Tom, on the data side.
I think it's kind of it's ingrained in your Auto Trader, isn't it? Like, data is at the heart of everything we do, and I think the very best products or product features that I've been a part of or have supported in delivering have definitely had that data at the heart of it. And just in the last year, I think the biggest thing that I think has been the most impactful that I've been involved in, and I think it has real power for the future, is the stuff we've been doing in building out the customer data platform, and really starting to kind of understand the Auto Trader audience, starting to profile that audience to get a real view of kind of what's right for them at a given moment of time. And we started kind of dabbling doesn't do it justice, because it was a ton of work, but I say dabbling because we're just like at the start of the journey. But we started making some changes to one of our paid performance products called PPC, which is, for those of you that don't work at Auto Trader, is essentially the ability for a retailer or a manufacturer to put a given vehicle at the top of our search listing and hopefully kind of attract buyers to engage with their advert. And that always had a targeting logic that was based on kind of Auto Trader search filters, but we started using audience segmentation to tailor it, so we'd get a view for kind of, I don't know, like maybe the certain body type you're interested in, or the price point that you're interested in, or the age, things that some people might be surprised by. Not many people do enter in the actual search filters on Auto Trader, so we got an idea of that, and then we could start using that to inform what we show to consumers, which has been hugely powerful. And actually, I think in a lot of the products I'm now involved with that relate to search, that's kind of the bedrock now. Like, if we're not considering using that data to then personalize that experience, it's not I just don't think, I think it's a given, you kind of have to do it. But yeah, it's hugely powerful. And I think the thing I find most exciting about that as well is that I think working somewhere like Auto Trader and product, as I'm sure everyone here knows, it's really hard, because that marketplace model, there's that constant tension of kind of delivering value for our kind of retail partners, delivering value for consumers, and obviously delivering value for us as a business. And it's always really hard trying to navigate that triangle. But I think what we've seen with using data to kind of inform our products and actually power our products, we've kind of actually been able to create this win-win-win for each, because the consumer's seeing much more relevant adverts and engaging with it. That then benefits the retailer because they've got more relevant consumers interacting kind of with their vehicles, and then clearly for us we benefit too by providing that for both of them. So it's mega exciting.
Yeah, I think when I was taken through that a month or so ago, I remember back in, I think it was probably 2019, when we were in a different, we were working together, and you'd come over from finance, and we had people working in the search and thinking like, how do we power it by data? The fact, I know it's 4 years on, but like actually now what that is enabling us to do is like, it is a bit mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy, and it's a testament to kind of the analysts, the scientists, and the developers that play that through. It's like
they're super clever.
For product people, it's just fanciful ideas, but they actually make that thing a reality. Yeah. It's so cool.
Yeah. So yourself, Trace, obviously different perspective on data. You used data differently, and your influence in that area is probably different again to Tom.
Yeah, I think from so in Portal, the retailer side of the business, obviously we've got all that consumer data, and there's so much data that we have, but it's so powerful, but it's understanding which bits of data are actually useful to a retailer and at what points as well. So I think, the product update we had, the vehicle level insight. So big shout out to Nick Jenner and Warren Nicholas, who worked on that product. But what that actually did was they really dug into the detail of what information is useful at vehicle level for a retailer, so that I'm bringing that all together in one place. So within Portal, these data like spread out, and bits of information spread out around the product portal. But yeah, bringing that all together at vehicle level in one place really enables a retailer to make educated decisions on what they do next around that vehicle, whether that's, if it's been in stock for a while, or, they want to push, selling it quicker, or whatever those jobs may be. It's not that they have to go off and find these bits of information now, it's all in one central place. So I think when we talk about like our relationship, Auto Trader's relationship with retailers, and together we do more, I think that's key to that, because it's definitely understanding what is really valuable to that retailer and enabling them to really do their business well. And I think vehicle level has been I'm really quite excited for it, for the team as well who worked on that, because it is kind of at that vehicle level is something new, it kind of brings all that together. So I think data was really powerful there. There
was a real buzz about it, wasn't it, in the sort of design peeps last year when we were looking at that. And I remember like Ali, who's my lead, saying like they were reviewing it in the OLT, being taken through it, and it was like, oh, this is different level, this is really powerful. So no, that's super interesting. And yourself, Ben, obviously again, engineering side, there's a lot of engineering gone into the data side, but obviously the data and the platform is massive in its own right.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm not directly involved in this. There's a huge team who look after our data platform, and there's a platform that sits there and it collects millions and millions of observations every minute from like consumers and retailers. How all the products are being used daily, and we use that all the time. I go into every meeting I end up going into, someone's got to look a dashboard up. So what's the performance? Like last week we were looking at what's the performance of finance attachment rates on digital retail, and looking why it might have gone up or might have gone down. But to me, the big change this last year was like, we've always been quite guarded around our data and keeping it internal at Auto Trader. It's like how we've exposed some of that, and we're now pushing it out rather than retailers used to just come and pull that data from us. Like, what's the status of my stock? We're now saying your stock status has changed, it's moved. If it's on the digital retailing journey and someone's reserved it, we're telling them instantly. Like that. I think it's that like democratisation of data has been a big move this year.
And like sort of related to that is the sort of the progression continued, which we are involved in. It's like on the API side of the platform, and that, like you said, on the whole digital retailing, and being able to real time update stock, and then be able to make sure that all the link systems, so not quite
the full automotive ecosystems now starting to join up a lot more. So
it is exciting. which leads us then into digital retailing. So this is where you starred in the video, Tom.
I did, and I didn't do anything with it in actual product delivery.
I know, so I'm actually going to focus on Ben and Tracy on this one. But again, like digital retailing, like the three of us, Tom hasn't. Tom's took the glory on the video. I'm only messing, Tom. You did a great job. You definitely did a better job than me and Ben would have done.
You'd have fell off the treadmill, wouldn't you?
Oh, fuck, it'd have been awful. It'd have been like, listen, we spent the whole budget because we had to refilm it 55 times.
The only thing he said is, why didn't I crack the phone? And I stood on it.
Don't. I'm going to start laughing too hard. But, like, it has been a I'm going to say multi-generational, not multi-generational, multi-year, yeah, piece of work. You know, from the digital online car buying journey. But the thing we talk about, and the thing we talk about a lot in sort of the material is, actually, this year it's not only been about new features, it's been like streamlining some of the early betas that we did.
Yeah.
Like streamlining right back, which streamlining has meant removing things where we've, you know, invested time.
Spent 18 months building.
Money, like, you know, sweated over it. So you were both involved in streamlining and you've both been involved from the beginning. So what was it like for you and the teams where you then realised we're going to have to, you know, clip things back? I was thinking of like the Loki. You know, have you been watching Loki on Disney?
No.
All right, okay. I won't go into like Loki terms then.
I get the reference.
Yeah, no. It's like, well, tumbleweed flies past. But yeah, again, that bit of what it's been like to prune. They use the word pruning, Loki. Prune things, and like also that validation, the feedback, and that making sure it's justified that we're pulling back. So I'm talking about part exchange and reservations, probably process it in Maine. So what's that been like for you personally and the teams, and how have you managed that?
I think I feel like you've spent a lot of time on building these products, but the big thing is we learnt so much. You know, so we made decisions to get those standalone products out. We've learnt loads from that, which has then enabled us to bring them into kind of a uniformed together flow. I think it's complicated to do that. We actually had two views, you know, we were understanding how they could fit together. But yeah, I definitely don't see it as wasted time.
Yeah.
I think the learnings there were key to that.
I think like you look at something like reservations, I actually got a bit hands-on with the code, which so for me I really enjoyed that. I spent a good couple of months just writing code, going up. I remember doing this. All my peers hated it, I think. But we went into that like, I'd say naively, like, oh, this would be easy. You know, let's take reservation off a customer, we'll take some money off them, we'll make the retailer hold the vehicle. Dead simple. You start to dig into it, it's like the two-sided marketplace that Tracy's talked about. It's like different types of retailer. You go, okay, single site, independent retailer, super easy. You get to like the groups, it's like, where does the money go? It's like, it's not just going to one account. It's like, okay, they've got main accounts. It's like, and then you speak to a different group and they want it all different. So we had this idea that we'd take money from a consumer, we'd hold it. When the vehicle sale was confirmed, we'd release the money to the retailer, to their bank account. As we started scaling, and it's like, it just wasn't feasible. So it was good learnings there. We learned straight away, it was actually the best thing to do is like, we take the money off the consumer, we hold it, they confirm, then we return it back to the consumer. It's operationally a lot simpler, a lot cleaner, less complex.
And on that one, did you already have in mind that this may need to be simplified at some point in time, or is it more actually now we've got the learnings, we're going to simplify it? Or is it because I'm looking at the product set, and probably coming from a part exchange perspective, we know we were going complex. We had some ideas about simplification, but it was more until we got proof back. And actually,
that's just the different type of products, isn't it? With reservations, it was always like, oh, this will be super simple, and then when you dig into it, actually no, it's really complex, and we need to make it simple. With Part X, it was like we knew it was really complex. We knew that was going to affect like the consumer and the retailer interactions of it. So it's like, let's get it there, then figure out how we simplify it.
Yeah.
Like 2 different journeys to the same destination.
Yeah. And do you find that, again, this is probably, it's not direct to the video, but how do you manage that in terms of the message of simplification? Because, again, I might be the same team or developer or tech lead that has put their heart and soul into that, and then you're basically clipping features away that you were potentially really proud of and went, that worked really well. Is that something where, again, from how you then convey that message to make sure it's understood, like, because that is the complex set of emotions, people are complex, how do you manage that?
It's getting them involved straight away. Like, we work like cross-functionally as teams, so everyone's involved. It's not like out of the blue, let's make this simple. It's like everybody's already been involved, which everyone's heading towards the same direction. Some people always feel, I've worked on this for a long time. It's like, but we've learnt so much from it. That's the takeaway.
Yeah. And I think the teams are really invested in it as well. So we always do everything with the best intention. And I get, sometimes it can be hard when we have to kind of redo things. But I think, like, for me personally, when I'm looking at kind of changing, I don't like a step process or the design on something, I'm having conversations with the engineers straight away, everybody involved, bringing them on that journey so they really understand why we're changing things. And, and it definitely not, a lot of the time relates back to feedback that we've received from retailers. Yeah.
And thinking of the new things we've introduced this year around the deal, digital retailing space, are the ones that, again, I think you said it earlier, Ben, that we, and from a product perspective, might say, this sounds simple, but the complexity, whether it be from a service design, operational, or the technicalities of what we're using underneath, are there particular new enhancements that are coming down the line or features that you go, it sounds simple, but those are mind-boggling? Right, answer done.
Answer done. All the time. Every meeting, like, this is simple. Yeah, it is some face. Good example on digital retailing. It's the first product we've done that kind of seamlessly works with the native apps and the desktop and mobile.
Right.
In that you can start your application on the app, on digital retail application, like get halfway through your finance application, filling it in, can then just stop and then seamlessly pick it back up on the web, and then
Seems simple.
It seems simple, doesn't it? It's really not that simple. It's like it was the first time we've done this. It also, during this, we're going on a bit of a journey around how we scale our apps development, because it's usually a little bit bottlenecked. So we've now introduced the composable framework, which allows like your traditional engineers to work in like the native space. So we were doing that alongside that as well. So I was like, super complex.
But it does from the outside.
Like I start here and I can see it on the web on the computer.
But from the outside, like, I'm going to put myself in the outside here. The account space, I can't speak at the moment. The account space and stop start seems simple. So it is like the fact that it is multi-platform, different tech teams, different developers, different platforms, etc., etc. It's that bit of like the user, even to a degree, sometimes like myself or might not then realise the complexity underneath, and that's like the art in itself, isn't it? Making sure that like we don't bamboozle everybody with the complexity, but actually recognise it is complex and it's going to take time. Okay, I'm going to move on to, because Tom's not spoken for a while, and I know he's itching to say something. I'm not sure what it is. So EV. So this is probably a bit that, with the whole move to electrification, 2035, all new cars, zero emissions, it's something that we, me, Ben, Trace, are aware of and see probably a little bit on the sidelines because it's not our number one focus, but it's something that you and your colleagues are probably more involved with. So is there particularly takeouts from this year around the EV space that play into the whole simple is complex? Yeah,
definitely. I think just the rise of electric vehicles is complex in itself because it's a huge industry change where, I mean, I won't get drawn into the politics of it moving around and the goalposts changing, but fundamentally you are telling consumers eventually, like, internal combustion engines gone, you need to get on board and move to electric. But there is so much, naturally, like consumer uncertainty around that, lots of confusion. There's so many different bits out there just in the media. So I think, although we've kind of split, I suppose, our focus, like there's a great team of people kind of operation in Auto Trader that are definitely leading the charge in terms of getting out there in kind of the PR and the material and everything else like that. But we've definitely been really doubling down as well on the platform to make sure we're doing our bit in trying to kind of simplify electric vehicles to consumers. And we probably, over the last year, we've kind of been spending our attention, I suppose, I hate using funnel analogies, but if you imagined, I suppose, your start of your journey thinking about what car to get, right down to like actively looking at the vehicles.
Yeah.
We've kind of spent our time at the most extreme. So when you're right down actually considering your vehicles, a lot of this year has been about trying to kind of standardize the data points. So for consumers, they'll see like charging times in adverts, and this car has this much range and it can charge to this, but there's no like standard industry thing for that. Each manufacturer picks which stat they want to share in their advert to make it look better for their advert. Which is just confusing on a marketplace like Auto Trader, where you are actually trying to compare like for like. So a lot of engineering effort's gone into standardizing those data points. So actually when you're at that level, you genuinely can kind of shop between vehicles and get a view for that. And then linked to that, then we've really been trying to dial up how we support people with that range anxiety and the charging side of things, which is largely the biggest point of consumer fear we've seen when it comes to electric vehicles. Price points clearly been a natural thing, but that's not directly within our control. But actually helping people understand how often they might need to charge the vehicle, how far they can go, that's something we've really been focused on, kind of at the pointiest end of our funnel. But then at the very top as well, there's been a lot of investment around it, the kind of the content side of things. Articles to kind of help educate consumers on electric vehicle. We've got our dedicated kind of electric landing page where you can tap into all of the content, and then a lot of the focus has gone in as well to kind of making sure that our key kind of make and model pages that are primarily accessed via kind of Google and this kind of search, like SEO, kind of organic search optimization, making sure we really had our house in order there, because EVs are coming out so often, but then being visible in that search so that we can then make sure people understand kind of the Auto Trader view on it and give them the confidence in it. It's been a real challenge, and again, kind of a huge engineering effort for us to get behind and make sure we've got like the site architecture correct so that we are visible to consumers.
But again, as a consumer, that looks probably, it feels simple, but like the amount of effort's gone in, it's like it feels like it's another foundational year of as we move closer and closer towards 2030, 2035. So right, on a bit more of a light-hearted note, I'm actually, now we've covered the topics, I'm going to actually do a little bit of a critique of the video itself, like favourite parts, what actually your role with the whole piece was. I mean, this is where Ben's like, oh, don't even talk to me about that. I mean, like, particularly, my favourite bit, Tom, it was one of your ones where you look to the sky and you say, technology disguised as simplicity. I actually really liked it. You've pushed the phone down, you then stomp on top of it, break the screen so it looks like my phone. But it was again, it's probably, I'm going to start with you, Tom, like how you came to be in the production, like what it was like, and also like what was your favourite part? And obviously it's a very different perspective because you were in the material itself. How did I come to be in it? I thought I'd been stitched up and was just asked to do it, so I was like, okay, fine, I'm doing the video, great, because it's not really I don't know, I don't mind speaking, but I don't really like that kind of thing. But then, so I was told I was doing it, but then I turned up to a room and we were then doing like auditions in this room, and I was like, what's this? Why am I auditioning? I'm not very good at it. So having to do all these things in a tiny little room, like stepping out of a ball. I was useless at it, but obviously not useless enough, because then I got chosen to be in the video.
You didn't try out.
I needed to fall over at that point. But in fairness, it was really good fun doing it. Very different. I've never done like green room videos before. The worst bit I think was more in the office, walking around your colleagues doing something, because then they're just staring at you and gawping off your camera. But yeah, that's kind of how I got involved with it. But I think, what was my favourite part of the video? Well, if you watch it carefully, I I mean, the content of the video, my favourite part was obviously the PPC bit, because that's the thing I did, but I didn't get to talk to it. But I think I just watched the video and I think there's certain bits that are funny, having done the behind the scenes bit. Like, I know I'm walking on a treadmill for parts of it. I know how it looks. So
you're revealing all the secrets.
I'm revealing the secret. I just dread what the video production team can do with me now. They've got lots of green screen shots of me that they can put anywhere.
This is brilliant. I didn't even think of that one. What about yourself, Trace? Obviously you weren't in the video, but people that you work with closely and reporting to you were.
Yeah. So Anaya Ali is one of our early careers product design apprentices. I support Anaya, but to be fair,
she smashed it.
Yeah,
really
she absolutely one take wonder. Like, literally, she I heard she was absolutely brilliant in it, and in front of the screen and the camera. Anaya's great. So, to be honest, she inspires me to do more of that kind of stuff.
Is this why you're on the couch
This is
today?
why I'm sat here.
Next year's product video, they're looking for people.
God. Not sure I could.
I'm available.
I've applied twice.
He's not available. He's not
They lock
available.
the door when they see Ben coming.
No. We're not
Quick,
we're not
quick.
videoing today. You have to wear red. You have to wear a United shirt. He's like, no, not doing that.
You have to put a disguise on, Ben.
And what about yourself, Ben? Because obviously me and you were more background because there was other things going on. So it was a very different angle to try and support. Again, because it was a really complex, lots of people involved to produce such a slick video. Like the amount of effort and like sort of creativity and just lining it up was
the interactions,
impressive. Yeah.
and I think Anaya flicked something at one point, and I was like, it's just great.
Yeah.
To the team who works on that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, don't ask me to do anything with the video. You've got the video, but you've also got the page on the site.
Yeah.
AutoTrade.co.uk/2023.
Yeah, dub. Yeah.
Good plug.
Yeah. Plug it one more time at the end.
How do we get that made really quickly without affecting a massive roadmap of work that we've got going on? So it's very much like, say, with Nat Brady, who did the majority of the work on that page, did a cracking job with it and took the vision of what Lauren in design wanted to do, and then use our design system and components we already got to make it as fast as possible. So it's very much like, what can we get done in a week and get it live?
Yeah.
So
there were so many people. I mean, there's some of the crew in here, production crew involved, and we had people from product lots and lots of people involved. So it was from a product and tech and wider community like Creative Studio and production. It was a massive effort, and it was interesting again, just hearing and seeing. I was speaking to George about it, but George Burton, I think a couple of days after the video shoot, and how it was high intense to get it done, but it was also great fun. So I'm looking forward to the 2024 one. I think it's been generally a big thumbs up from everyone I've spoken to. So like I said, and like Ben's plugged it many times, if you've not watched it, www.autotrade.co.uk/2023 landing page, and it takes you off to YouTube. So unfortunately, because we're all busy bunnies, especially Benjamin Bunny, it's a wrap for today. So thanks to Ben, Tom and Tracy, and everybody that was involved in the product update 2023. Too many to call out. Like I said, me and Ben are available for 2024 if you'd like.
Please,
Right Said Fred tribute, whatever it might be. So again, it's www.autotrade.co.uk 2023. Thanks always for tuning in. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification button so you never miss an episode, and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And that's us done for today. See ya.